At this point, it's with great pleasure that I introduce our first resource person for this conference. He is an Underwood Distinguished Professor of Public Administration at Yonsei University. Joining us virtually and live from New Delhi, India, let's extend a warm welcome to Professor Myung Jae Moon.
Good morning. Well, um, I'm Jae Moon, and today I have about 45 minutes, and my presentation will be about 30 minutes, and then hopefully we have some Q&A time. Magandang umaga po. And as I said, I was there in Manila, exactly in Savoy Hotel 2 weeks ago. We had a training program organized by DAP and working with Asian productivity organizations. I had a great time there, and again, I'm here with you. And today my topic is designing e-government platforms and portals for better citizen interactions and experiences. We heard from Mr. Undersecretary, and what's the past and what's the present and what's the future you really try to see. Today, I will make my presentation based on some of the trend and changes these days, and also some of the experiences that we have based on some of the Korean initiative, so-called digital platform government. Well, in addition to my current position as Underwood Distinguished Professor in my department, and I'm Director of Institute for Future Government, so that my institute actually working on a lot of projects, how government can utilize emerging digital technologies for public services and also internal administrative processes. In fact, I'm here in New Delhi to participate in Global Digital Summit 2023. And there are a lot of issues we deal with, particularly focus on digital public infrastructure. We believe that digital public infrastructure and digital public goods we should take advantage of, particularly for developing countries, because it's really building blocks for enhance the quality of government, as well as enhance the quality of public services. So I think, the topic that I'm going to present today is very related to that regard. My research area is digital government, and I was selected as one of 100 world most influential people in digital government in 2018 and 2019 by a Politico. I'm currently a member of Presidential Committee for Digital Platform Government, and so that's the new initiative we have been working on. Well, as you know, the digital technology has been evolving continuously, and now the question is, how we are prepared for that, and to what extent we are ready to take advantage of technology available. In that regard, I think there are a lot of open sources and open protocols that we can take advantage of. As you know, now we have ChatGPT, and one of the most mentioned technology here in Global Digital Summit is AI, and how we actually use the AI for public services. As you know, India, for example, they have many local dialects. And then a lot of information they cannot actually machine learning because they're not really documented well. But the information in local area with local dialects, that's a very, very precious information and data. So what they do here is, for example, they use the spoken local dialects and then turn into information and data, and then they try to utilize that data for public services based on AI. So that there are many different ways of using current technology and to improve public services. I think that's the starting point. As you know, the first mobile phone in the world was invented in right after World War II and in 1948. At the time, the mobile phone was very heavy one, 80 pounds, so that people actually carry in trunk in automobiles. Of course, now we have handheld mobile phones that was invented in 1970s. And then we have internet, and then we have a ChatGPT, and we have blockchains. I know that there is a one presentation on blockchain, so that technology is evolving. So that I think we should pay attention to what technology available and how we can utilize them for our purposes. There is a major shift from digitization and digitalization and digital transformation. Of course, we envision digital transformation, but it starts with the digitization. So digitization, the focus is data and information, and turn the analog data and information to digitized form. And then digitalization is more about innovation in processes and how we automate processes by using digital technologies. And then the next stage will be digital transformation. And digital transformation is not just about process invention, innovation, but the whole institution and organization should be changed so that there are continuous advance toward the digital transformation. Where are we now? As Mr. Undersecretary Almiro mentioned, Philippines global e-government performance based on United Nations performance evaluation. It's placed in 89, and it's above Asian countries average, but I think there is a great room for improvement. And Mr. Undersecretary mentioned that, and I think, what should be done in the future, particularly for better public services. As you know, there are three major pillars actually based on the United Nations e-government evaluation assessment. One is information infrastructure, and then second one is online public services, and then third one, human capital index. Those three are major components and elements for e-government development index. So I hope that in future, Philippine government work on information infrastructure, and then more online services provided to public citizens as well as businesses, and of course human capital development. Well, there has been continuous improvement in Philippines. One example would be Quezon City e-government services, particularly business permit and licensing. And when I was there 2 weeks ago, we had a site visit. I didn't go to Quezon City, but I saw that there has been great improvement in e-services through the one-stop services in many ways. And another example I was very impressed was Philippine Statistics Authority. That's one of the innovation project highlighted in DAP. And the identification annotation changes, and it used to took 2 to 6 months to get the annotation done. And now it only takes 15 working days. So that there has been great improvement, dramatic improvement in public services. But I think we should take one step further. So I think that's why we have here public services in the digital age. Now take a look at this one. Here, digitization and digitalization and digital transformation. As you see, this is the engram viewer, which really show you the changes for last 200 years. And then recently, the digitization, digitalization, digital transformation, the focus and interest really condensedly show in recent days. And I think that's something that we need to pay attention to. Now, this shows that why government pay attention to digital transformation. And here, Deloitte, they had a survey to private sector, corporate organizations, and governments. And corporate organization, they say, well, the number one reason for digital transformation is to enable them to innovate faster. So that faster innovation is number one reason. And number two reason is modernization. A government official answered, number one reason is modernization and keeping up with the times. And number two reason is fast innovations. Number three reason is we should meet citizen demands and expectations. So that's here on the one hand, modernization, innovation fast innovation, and then meeting the citizen demands and expectations. So that there are ample reasons why we should pay attention to digital transformation. Take a look at this one. This one is Bondi Beach in Sydney. If you go there, and then there's a swimming pool in oceans, and then people can swim in the swimming pool, and then of course you can enjoy surfing outside. And I think a digital transformation is totally different. Though it's a digital technology, there's some changes, but it's like out of a swimming pool. So before digital transformation, probably we can just enjoy, relax, like this child and kids drifting around the swimming pool. But now we should stand up and then build our strength and ready for the moving against big waves. And I think that's a digital transformation. To enjoy take advantage of the changes, we should build the strength, we should learn skills, and we should have good positions. And I think that's sort of tell you how we should prepare for the digital transformation in future. Korea has been working on digital government, e-government for long, and particularly late 1990s. And it's quite interesting because we pay particular attention to digital government services in the middle of financial crisis in 1998. And we thought, that's a crisis, and to overcome the crisis, and digital government is one of the solutions we should work on. This page is the one that I work on, evolution of Korea's e-government, as part of the project for KDI, Korean Development Institute School of Public Policy. And I had a very short description of historical sketch and evolution of Korean e-government. And as you see here, there are a lot of people, other countries actually paid attention to Korean e-government, and there are more than 500,000 viewers. And it really indicates how people want to look at some of the changes the Korean government made and some of the challenges that we overcame. And in fact, the evolution of Korea's e-government, we should go back to the 1960s. Actually, 1967, we first introduced IBM computer to process census data. And that was the first time. So, and then late 1990s, and really having a major 11 digital government projects. And then we had 2001, we had the first Electronic Government Act. That was the first comprehensive e-government legal framework in the world. And then now we have a digital platform government. As you know, there's shift being made, and this is the figure coming from OECD. And the shift is from analog government and e-government and digital government. And digital platform government is current Korean government actually tried to promote. E-government is greater transparency and user-centered approach and ICT-enabled procedures. And that's something, one-stop services, for example, that could be one examples. And then digital government is open and user-driven. It's not just the user-centered, but actually citizen participating in making public services more user-driven approaches. And then digital platform government is actually take one step further, really try to demolishing the data silos and also even traditional walls for better government and public services. And OECD's 6 dimensions for digital government, and there are a lot of principles actually suggested. And I think those are still very applicable pillars for digital government in these days. For example, government as a platform, digital by design, user-driven, proactive, data-driven public sector, open by default. Now the question is, to what extent we are preparing for those 6 principles? Are we ready for government as platform? Are we really pursuing digital by design? What about user-driven? Do we really take a proactive approach? Data-driven public sector? And open by default? So those are really principles, and also that sort of gives a nice milestones for future directions. Let me just share what digital platform government we are talking about. The current Korean government really take a step toward digital platform government. And the current president actually, when he prepared for his presidential campaign, he initiated and promised his administration will pursue digital platform government. The key aspects are really citizen-driven, problem-focused technology, particularly AI and cloud technology, disruptive technology should be a key base, and service-oriented, and particularly public-private solutions, so that the digital platform government, basically government as a platform, so that if there's a good private sector solutions, and then government should take advantage of them, so that there are a lot of public-private partnerships and really open private solutions for public problems. Well, digital platform government is designed to provide proactive and customized services. So basically, some of the key principles emphasized by OECD, and actually those are a key basis for even in digital platform government. AI-based and data-based scientific administration. For example, policy making should be really based on data and proactive approach and preventing some of the future social problems. And public-private people partnership. And so that here we also emphasize people as well. So here, traditional e-government and digital government, and then digital platform government, of course, there are a lot of overlaps, but there are some differences as well. For example, traditional e-government and digital government, one-stop service is really important goals. And then digital platform government actually beyond one-stop service. For example, no-stop and zero-stop service. So that without being requested by citizens, if government has a lot of data on citizens, and then government can prepare and provide proactively public services even before being requested. And also government can tell all the available services that citizens need, and then government can give alert and information to citizens, so that providing customized services in advance. So that's the goal. Of course, there's still a long way to go, but that's the vision that we have. And data is really critical one, and evidence-based decision-making and transparent and open and anticipatory government services. Those are some of the major issues. And let me give one example. And I'm working as a team leader in the Digital Platform Government Presidential Committee. And one of the things that we are working on now is traditionally in Korea, we have a seal certificate, you know, the seal. And I think that there's only 2 countries in the world using the seal. And seal certificate is very, very important for when you sell your property to other people. And then people want to really have good proof that you're really willing to sell, and then you are the one who owns the property, so that they should submit the seal certificate issued by the local government. And now we try to reduce the number of cases which require seal certificate or any digital alternatives. And in fact, there's a lot of things that we need to work on, but that's something that very challenging, because a lot of people still want to have a seal certificate rather than using the digital solutions. So here, it's not just about technology, but the way people perceive and citizen culture is also very, very significant in working through digital government and digital platform government. Key components: cloud, AI-based for better services, and removing silo, whole of government approach. Not only the interagency information sharing, but also different the branches of government. For example, one of the challenges that we are facing with now, we are working on in Korea is within government executive branches, different agencies, there are a lot of information shared, but still executive branch and then judiciary branch, for example, Supreme Courts, they have a lot of information. Sometimes you need information sharing between executive branch, judiciary branch, and legislative branch. And that's something we really try to work on these days. Back to the basic of digital government, and government enterprise architecture is very, very important in terms of planning and open data, open government. And as I mentioned, using private solutions. Silo to platform, and Mr. Undersecretary also emphasized this one. Really going beyond silo is very, very critical. And even silo, not among the agencies, but silo between different branches. And here, executive branch, National Assembly, courts, so that not just the whole of government, but whole of a society approach might be very, very essential. And I think that's one of the discussions we had in a Global Digital Summit in New Delhi now. Let me just touch upon information sharing. And I think that's a really backbone of the a lot of public services and using making government as a platform. Government information sharing system, GIS, GISS, and some of the people say public information sharing system. And I think sharing information among different public institutions are very, very critical, and a lot of public services actually based on this GIS system, government information sharing system. For example, somebody want to apply for a passport, and then traditionally they should go to local government office to get the birth certificate and then criminal check, and then take those documents and going to passport agency and then submit those documents. But actually the local government, which issued birth certificate or family certificate, that's government. And passport agency also a government. If they share information and then citizen doesn't have to go to local office to get that document, they can share information, and then citizens just need to go to passport office or just apply through online. That's something that we should have. So that here, government information sharing as a backbone, and that's really integrated e-government services. And actually, that was really one of the main parts of the legal framework we had in 2001. And as you see here in the E-Government Act of 2001, Chapter 4 is basically mandate information sharing among different agencies. And then if there's a agency needs some information which is held by particular other agencies, and then they can request. If they don't want to share information, and then there's a way to make agreement. So here, clause 36 through clause 44, and there are a lot of legal elements which really are making government agencies share their information for better administration and better services. And here, take a look at this one. This one I actually got from the government documents, and how many pieces of public information. Those are key public information shared by government agencies. So that here, as you see, there's a sharp increase in mid 2000 here. Now more than 160 critical public information shared among different agencies. Here, not only government agencies in central government, as you see here, there are many other public institutions, including central agencies, and then more than 240 local governments, and also 166 education offices, and then 276 public institutions, and then even banks, financial institutions, they also share that information, so that there are a lot of public services handled by those institutions actually use government information system platform, so that they can provide public services based on that system. And I think that's very, very critical. And here, linking pin, how can we share information? And the national ID system is the linking pin and kingpin, which really connect different pieces of information for public services. Let me give you one example. This is a very good example to me. Here, integrated social welfare information systems. Korean government spend a lot of money for social welfare programs, and then here, for example, they spend money for subsidy to low-income families. And then if you want to get the financial support as a low-income family, and then you should apply, right? And then what you apply basically is the proof of low income. And then the social welfare officer in local governments, they actually review low income certificate or low income documents. But we found that there are some of the people, the income level is low, but still their life is so luxurious. For example, they go to summer vacation all the time to other countries, and then they enjoy playing golf and yacht, and they drive Mercedes-Benz or BMW. So that here, low-income subsidy given to the people on document low income, but their life is very luxurious. And now government decided to use different pieces of information rather than just reviewing low-income applicants based on income data. But here, as you see, income, pension, property tax, automobiles, and then family information, and then there are international travel information and health expenses. So they're all different pieces of information all together. So that here, low-income subsidy decision, not just based on income data, but based on many related informations. How this is possible? Well, information sharing among different agencies. And the linking pin again, national information, national ID system. And I know Philippine government is also working on the national ID system. Now, a lot of people already registered and having a national ID system. Once it's done, and then that could be really foundation for many e-government services in future. Well, the other one I just want to talk a little bit about is architecture. Well, the e-government architecture is so critical. Think about when you move to a new apartment or new property, and then if you decided to buy the new furnitures, and then you have a sofa, you have bed, dining tables, and a desk and chair, or whatever. But suppose that if you don't have enough money to buy all the furnitures at once, and if you want to buy one by one, and then if you buy sofa, but you should have a really good picture of a whole furniture, even before buying other furniture. You need to think about the color, you need to think about the size. And I think that's basically the e-government architecture. E-government architecture is really holistic view on e-government so that you don't have waste of resources. So here, the key aspects of e-government architecture, government-wide enterprise architecture, basically standardization, interoperability, integration, and then planning to evaluation. And there are a lot of BRM, for example, business reference model and technology reference model. There are a lot of reference model which actually bring the holistic approach to e-government. So here, the government-wide enterprise architecture is really a key base for the total e-government systems in Korea. And I'm sure that you have some kind of enterprise architecture in Philippines. And I think, the enterprise architecture might want to be holistic and that it really cover from planning to evaluation and different parts of the e-government and digital government systems. I want to give one story, and which is avoiding Cobra effect. And I think this is important when you have planning. When India was colonized by UK, and many British government officials working in India. And then the British government officials in India, and they tried to settle down in India. And then what they disliked was, at the time, was the snakes on the street, so that because they didn't see many snakes on street in England before Britain. And so that they tried to eliminate and reduce the number of snakes in town, and they tried to come up with the solutions. The solution they came up with was, well, they developed a cash reward systems, so that somebody catch snakes, and then they give rewards to incentive to catch snakes. So a lot of people try to catch the snakes, and then try to get the incentive from the government. So that for the meantime, the number of snakes actually seemingly reduced. And then later, a lot of people coming to office and to get the incentive and bringing snakes. But the number of snakes on street did not really decline. So that they had investigation what happened. And what happened was actually a lot of people began to farm snakes at home and then bring them to office to get incentive. So that they found that, and then the colonial government, they decide to terminate the pro-incentive systems. And some of the people got really angry because they couldn't get the incentive now. So that some of the people released the snakes, which they farm at home. So now they have more snakes. So the thing I want to say here is that we have problem, we want to solve it. If we don't have long-term planning and really careful, sophisticated planning, and then probably we make the system get worse. So that I think, people like you, government officials, need to have good long-term planning and very sophisticated and strategic mindset for digital government. Well, the whole theme of this conference is reimagine public services delivery in the digital age. To reimagine, and I think there are several things that I want to say. We should think big because we should whole picture. And then we should see in advance, foresight, foresee. And we should think strategically. And then we should take an action beyond planning, beyond strategy, take an action. And then we can probably achieve what we want to achieve. Well, this might be my last slide. Take a look at this one. This is upstate New York map. And there's one small area which I circled here, Egloo. Egloo is a very interesting the place which has very good story on it. In 1930s, there's one company which produced a map. So a lot of people at the time, of course, they didn't have a navigator, so that they used the map when they drove. So that a general drafting company, they produce the map and sell them. And then when they began to sell, they worried about some of the people just copy their maps and then sell in the market. And then because they invested a lot of money to make this map, so they worried about the copyright infringement. And then one staff member made a very nice and clever idea, which was, well, why don't we just put down imaginary place name there, which is not the real town name. So Egloo name they just came up with, and then they put down secretly. So if they find a map with Egloo imaginary city, which they didn't produce, and then they can take that to the court and charge them. So clever idea, so that they began to sell their map. And then as time passed, and then they saw maps in the market which had Egloo on it, but the map is not the one they produced. So they had a preparation team so that prepared for the legal suit. And then they were really shocked. And then they found that there is an Egloo there. Originally, it was imaginary city, town. They came up with even the name. And then what happened was people began to drive at the time and then use the map. And then they found the Egloo they never heard about. So that they went there, and then, of course, there's nothing. And then another people go there, and then nothing. And then one businessman started convenience store and gas station there. Egloo convenience store, drugstore. That's how the Egloo started. Of course, it's still small, but the name is there. And then reality started from the imaginary. Here, reimagine public service delivery in the digital age. To imagine, I think we should have a dream, and we should have good, big thinking, and then we take an action, and then we'll get there. And Egloo will be there. And I hope that the ranking that we saw, 89, and in future, hopefully, quick advance toward the top, and you are the one who actually push and take an action. Thank you.